Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rally Reds podcast. I'm your host, Cash Chandler, alongside my co-hosts Riley Sewell and Jackson Gunnell. And the Reds just beat the Cubs in a three-game series, coming off a loss on during the Cardinal series. But we're going to talk about that more right after this.
Rally Reds strike again. The comeback kids do it again. Caught. Left center. Reds win.
And yes, as I mentioned, the Reds just beat the Cubs. Feels great to beat a division rival, especially the Cubs, because God forbid I hate the Cubs. Um, But that's just one thing about me. So I figured that we'd all go ahead and introduce ourselves, since this is really our first time doing this. But I'm Cash. I'll be your host. I'll say that at the start of every single video, so make sure to remember it by then. Cincinnati born and raised. Been a Reds fan my entire life, obviously. As you can see, my whole wall behind me full of crap. Got a Duke shirt on today. It's blue. That's not appropriate for the Cubs, but it's Duke. Love Duke basketball. And yeah, that's pretty much just about me. Over here on the left side of the screen is my guy Jackson. Jackson, you want to go ahead and give him a little spiel about you?
Uh, Big Reds fan. Uh, Probably the biggest. I'm the biggest Reds fan that I know. I like watch the Reds every day. All I think about is the Reds, literally. Um, and Play high school baseball on JV team. Uh,
He
just
doesn't play at
all
all.
about the Reds and excited. Yeah, that's a pitcher only. Barely pitches. Yeah. Um, but uh, I'm very excited to get this podcast going and share information with you guys.
Well, my name is Riley Sewell. I also play baseball. I play JV baseball for Franklin. I do play, actually. Big Reds fan, big Gators fan as well. I love Gators baseball, love Gators football and everything. Just like my father. As you can see, big Reds fan, all the stuff in the corner. Um, that's me.
Yeah, so in this podcast, you can pretty much just expect all Reds stuff, and a lot of strong opinions will be said, but we like to keep it positive here. We're going to talk about, trade rumors. We got guys here, especially Jackson, who's heavy on minor league baseball, and we'll get you all covered up on that. Um, just all updated stuff, and just make sure that you know everything that you need to know about Reds baseball. Because who does not want to hear about the Reds? It's the Reds. We all love the Reds. Reds. Um, but yeah, so we might as well just go ahead and jump right into this. Reds just beat the Cubs. Um, Final game was great, but figured that we just go ahead and talk about that a little bit here. So, Jack, you want to get us going on that?
Yeah, so game one against the Cubs was a great game. Um, Santiago Espinal, he got that big home run to get break the game wide open for the Reds to get them the lead late in the game. And Alexis Diaz tried to close the door, but barely closed the door. Had to get a lot of help from Hurtubise and Elio Cruz after that double. Um, and that was a great play by Ellie, like almost 100-mile-an-hour throw back into home plate. Uh, the Cubs third base coach was rounding the guy home like he was going to score for sure, but no, can't forget about Ellie with a great throw, and also Fernando Cruz with another great hold, along with Sam Wall and Lucas Sims. Um, Candelario had two errors, but that doesn't really matter. The Reds won. That's all that matters. Friedel got his first hit and is since coming back from the IL with a broken hand. So very good all around game by the Reds and squeezed out the victory. Game two, the Reds was a 3-hour rain delay before the game even started. Um, that was very annoying to watch, especially since it was on live TV on Fox. Had to wait a while to see that. Got off to a hot start and scored 4 runs in the second, but then a grand slam given up by Hunter Green to Dansby Swanson. Yeah, Dansby, no, Seiya Suzuki, my bad. Uh, and Swanson got a home run off of Lucas Sims in the eighth inning to break the game wide open, give the Cubs the lead. Reds could not fight back in that one. But double by India, double by Steer, 3-hit game by Spencer Steer. nice to see that. He hasn't done that in a while. Multi-hit game for India and Candelario, who have been two of the hottest players this weekend for the Reds. Um, and a couple stolen bases in that game as well. Very good all-around game, but just could not pull all off at the end. And then today, the Reds beat the Cubs 5-2 in the best game of the series the Reds have played by far. Nick Lodolo with a fantastic start. He went 6 innings, giving up only 2 runs, both earned, 7 hits, only 1 walk. Um, a lot of first pitch strikes. 16 first pitch strikes out of 27 batters faced. That's a very good first pitch strike rate. Um, a lot of swings and misses, just not a lot of strikeouts. His ERA is now down to 3.11 in only 7 starts this year for the Reds. He's been injured on and off all year. But that was it's a very good time to see him on Monday against the Cardinals get the win. And then today against the Cubs get the win. Two big divisional wins. Also, Candelario and Steer with 2 hits, and Jake Fraley, a guy that's very underappreciated here in Reds country. 3 hits, a double, 2 singles. And you can't forget about TJ Frieda with his 3-run home run, first one of the year. That was really nice to see, especially since he's been struggling since coming off of the IL.
Yeah, I'm a big TJ Friedel fan, and watching him hit that home run, that really got me fired up for him. Hopefully, even more of that to come for him. But really, game one, what I noticed the most, really what stood out was, Ashcraft did not have his best day. He struggled. He hit 2 batters, and then he ended his run by walking the bases loaded, and then I believe that's when Fernando Cruz came in. After that, in game two, uh, you know, first 2 games, really, the pitching, let's be honest, it wasn't fantastic. Wasn't anything too special. Hunter Green, 5 walks, 5 earned runs, and 6 innings pitched, and then obviously that grand slam to Seiya Suzuki. That does not feel too good, watching that ball go over the fence, especially when you have a 4-0 lead. Seiya Suzuki's having himself a night. He had a triple that first at bat, um, and he's on a tear right now. He just hit his 10th. He had a hit today, which makes his streak up to 10 games, 10-game hitting streak for Seiya Suzuki right now. He's on a roll right now. But really, for me, the thing that stood out was, pitching struggle in those first 2 games. But then game three, Nick Lodolo came in and shut it down.
Solo day.
Lodolo looks money right now this year. His off speed's nasty, and he just came back Monday from injury. So it looks like he picked up where he left off. He's back on a roll. Candelario having a 2-hit day. I really like to see that out of him. Hopefully he can stay hot. He was one of our best hitters in the month of May. And yeah, it was just really fun series to watch. Those guys battled and played some of their best baseball that I've seen.
Um, Me, I'm really happy for this series. Offense was explosive. Like we said, Santiago Espinal had a clutch pinch hit 2 home run in game one of the series that really propelled us to get the win. Alexis Diaz looked a little shaky coming out of the pen, but he would still get the save. And then game two, Steer, India, and Candelario all had multiple hits, but the Reds would not prevail, as we know, as Swanson hit a tie-breaking two-run home run in the eighth that would later give the Cubs a win. And then in pivotal game three, the Reds' offense went off for 10 hits and 5 runs. Lodolo pitched 6, only gave up 2, and we won the series in Chicago.
Yeah, I love beating up on Cubs fans. I'm sorry if you're listening, but I seriously have no respect for any of you guys. You and Cardinals fans, man, you guys get on my nerves. Pretty much whole NL Central. I just cannot stand you guys. But I'm really happy that Spencer Steer had that 2-hit day. He's been a guy in the lineup that's been struggling a little bit too. Hopefully this is another spark for us. Just keep it rolling, keep winning ball games. Don't need losing streaks. Just keep winning. Have a positive mindset going into next series. Yeah, just keep winning. That's all I got for that. So now what we want to do is turn back time a little bit. So this past week in Reds history, Riley is going to go ahead and give us what happened on this whole week in Reds history for us. So Riley, what was going on a while back before we were alive?
Well, on May 27, 2008, Jay Bruce would make his major league debut against the Pirates. He went 3 for 3 with a double and 2 walks in a 9-6 Reds victory where Johnny Cueto picked up the win. And then on May 28, 1887, former Redlegger, Olympian, and college football legend Jim Thorpe was born. Some call him the Bo Jackson before Bo Jackson. He is widely regarded as one of the best athletes ever. And then on May 29th, 1956, Gus Bell went 5 for 5 with 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in a 10-4 win over the Cubs. Gus Bell is, of course, known as Buddy Bell's father and Reds manager David Bell's grandfather. And then for May 30th, 1887, Eric Davis set an NL record by hitting 3 grand slams in a single month. Most guys won't hit 3 grand slams for a whole career. And then on May 31st, 1981, Mario Soto would be hit by pitch against the Phillies, and a brawl would erupt against former Red Leg Pete Rose and Dayton native Mike Schmidt. David Concepcion, Mario Soto, and Ron Reed, the man who hit Soto, would all be ejected after the scuffle. On June 1st, 1979, Pete Rose would play his first game back in Cincinnati after signing the largest professional sports contract in history at the time, at a whopping 4-year, $3.2 million deal. On June 2nd, 1989, Eric Davis would hit for the cycle, going 4 for 4 with 6 RBIs in a 9-4 win against the San Diego Padres. He was the last player to do so for the Reds until Ellie De La Cruz did it this past season.
That's
yeah, all I got.
Eric Davis, man, with the cycle. Eric Davis is one of my favorite Reds of all time. I'm a big fan of his game. But it's crazy to hear about David Bell's grandpa playing back then. But yeah, that's just crazy to me hearing David Bell's grandpa in that sentence. That that caught me off guard a little bit there. Um, yeah, that. Thank you, Riley, for that. Now, down in the minor leagues, as we talked about earlier, how we were going to cover the minor leagues, there's a guy down there right now who everybody's really excited for. Reds just drafted him in this previous draft. He's pitcher. I'll give you that. Jackson, what do you got for us on Rhett Lauder?
I think this guy's the real deal. Only 22 years old and first round pick, 7th overall last year in the draft, as Cash said, out of Wake Forest. Wake Forest is one of the best colleges to work with pitchers and get them ready for pro baseball. And in Dayton this year, he was lights out. I sadly did not get to see him pitch at Dayton because he only pitched on Friday nights, and I had high school baseball games on Friday nights. But he had a 2.49 ERA in 5 starts, averaged about 5 innings a start at 25.1, and he's pitched 18 hits, only 7 earned runs. Big thing, 6 walks and only a 191 opponent batting average at high A. Less than 1 whip, which is also a very good stat to see. He has a high 90s fastball. He likes to throw inside to the righties, and then he has a nasty slurve or curve, a mix that he likes to throw down and away to those righties and down into lefties. He's trying to work on a cutter sinker mix, so he isn't so predictable. Right now, he has a changeup, a slurve, and a fastball. Those are his 3 main pitches right now. He in high and double A this year got caught up beginning of May. He had an over 9 ERA at 9.39 ERA and 15 innings pitched, less than 4 innings to start, 25 hits, 16 earned runs. The big thing is a 3.79 opponent batting average and almost giving up 2 hits per 9 innings. 2 hits per inning. Sorry, giving up 2 hits per inning. In Double A. I'm not worried about him at all, though. It's 4 starts. It's 16 innings pitched. First year pitching, and I don't see any world where he does not pan out in the next couple years. I don't know if he'll be an absolute Cy Young contender every single season. You can never really predict that, but I do think that he will be a very good pitcher in the Reds organization, and he'll be up here in the next couple years. Next thing I want to say is I've heard a lot that college baseball, the level of college baseball is a lot like high A. It's like high A talent with how the players are like what level they're at that time. So he's pretty much been pitching against high A level players in the minor leagues a lot, and in college the last 3 years, which can really help him go through the Reds minor league system and progress quickly. I think he should be up to AAA by the end of the year, and he'll fight for a spot on the Reds opening day rotation next year if everything goes as planned.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rhett Lauder, me personally. Just the way he looks like a stud. He looks like a pitcher. He I just watching his highlights earlier today. I cannot wait to see how he's going to progress going up through multiple different pitching staffs and eventually working his way up to the major leagues and just seeing how he can get creative with pitches in the major leagues. Yeah, he's definitely got to look out for and definitely a guy that I'm very excited to see. Well,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
So another thing, he gets
go ahead.
about 12 strikeouts per nine, 12 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is very
That's a great
high.
stat right there. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
insane.
and 3.4 walks per nine, which is a little bit higher than what I would like, but it's still very good for a young minor leaguer in his first year in minor league baseball to get that. Next thing, he had a 48% ground ball percentage in high A Dayton this year. The average in high A is 32%. And then when he went to double A, the ground ball rate was only 14%. It's been a smaller sample size, but they've been hitting the ball hard off of him, averaging about 97 miles an hour off the bat, which is top tier, like a really hard hit off the bat in double A. So he's trying to miss bats. He gets strikeouts, but he leaves a lot of pitches middle. And when that happens, it's never a good sign at any level of baseball. Um, and they've been cranking it hard for doubles, extra base hits,
Yeah.
hard liners. And then the last thing is um, he has said that he's been working with Derek Johnson a lot. Derek Johnson is the minor league coordinator for all the pitchers and the whole Reds organization. And Derek Johnson has had a couple of interviews where he said that Rhett Lauder has some of the most pure, nasty stuff he's seen out of a guy straight out of college and his years of being a pitching coach for the Brewers and the Reds. So he's very high on them. The Reds are very high on him. I'm high on him. I'm very excited to see what he can do.
well, I mean, I love Rhett Lauder as much as the next guy. Kid's got a lot of potential. He's only 22, ninth overall pick in the 2023 draft. But if you want to perform at a major league level, you can't have a 10 ERA in Double A. 3 losses, 10 ERA. Guys are hitting 379 off of Rhett Lauder. Again, he's still really young, but I mean, hopefully that gets better because that's atrocious.
Yeah, I get what you mean. He hasn't had the greatest of starts in Double A. It's Double A, the jump between Double A and Single A though is a big difference. So hopefully that he can work that out and just start mixing it up in there a little bit. Um, but Jackson, did you say that we could see him trying out for a starting spot next year in spring training?
I think so
Yeah.
because the Reds were talking about him fighting for a. They were talking about this last spring training for him fighting for a spot next year. I don't think that's changed, but I would expect to see him at least fighting. I would say, oh, yeah, I would see him fighting for a spot in the rotation next year.
Yeah. Who would you see like what rotation do you think you would have with Rhett Lauder in the mix in there? What would be your rotation?
Uh, as of now, so Frankie Montas signed a 2-year deal, but after the first year, there's a club and player option. You both have to agree. But how Montas is pitched right now and all the guys in the minor league system for the Reds, I would probably get rid of Montas, and then maybe Ashcraft right now has been
He's been a
not
little
great
up and
this
down.
year,
Yeah.
almost a 5 ERA. So I might have Louder be up there along with either Connor Phillips, Chase Petty, Julian Aguiar, who won the Reds minor league pitcher of the year last year. No one's really talked about him, but he's in Double A, lighting it up right now this year too. But I could see Louder being up there. So I think next year's rotation would be Green number one, Abbott two, Lodolo three, Louder four, and then like a either Ashcraft five or one of the minor league pitchers I mentioned in Aguiar, Petty, or uh, Phillips.
Yeah. I haven't heard a lot about Connor Phillips recently. I kind of forgot he existed
He's been
for a little
struggling.
bit, but yeah, I heard that he's been. Well, last time I checked on him, he was struggling a little bit. But yeah, Rhett Lauder definitely got to look out for. Hopefully he pans out and is what he's expected to be. The Reds are about to play the Rockies in Colorado, and as you know, that ballpark with how the ball flies out there. When you got guys in your lineup like Spencer Steer and hopefully Candelario when he makes contact with the ball and Ellie, all those guys, I my expectation for this series is I hope to see some homers out of this series, really stat pad out of this series, It looks like for the Rockies coming into pitch game one is Ryan Feltner. He's 1-4 with a 5.46 ERA on the season, and then the Reds are going out there led by Andrew Abbott. Um, he's been pretty good this year, 3.29 ERA. He's 3-5. Against Colorado batters, they're hitting 190 and they're 4 for 21 against him. He has 10 strikeouts and giving up 3 home runs, which is typical because it's Colorado. Um, I'm excited for this series. Hopefully, my expectations is, to be honest, series sweep. I expect the Reds to be able to sweep Colorado and pan off, big win. Um, but I have some high expectations for the series, and I hope that it really does pan out because this could be a big momentum boost for guys, especially if they're going to go out there and hit bombs. Um, but yeah, that's my expectations on this series.
Yeah. I think that the Reds should also, if the Reds want to prove themselves to be a top, like to be able to be a team that can make a wild card spot this year, they have to beat up on these teams all they can. Rockies are 21 and 37. Um, the Rockies are 13 and 14 at home, but they are 8 and 23 away, which at home against the Rockies is pretty tough to get a sweep. But I think the Reds can do it right now. They do need to get Ellie back on track because he's been struggling recently. He
Mm,
has not been stealing as many bases because of him not being on base as much. When the Reds get Ellie on base, it's always a lot better because he can steal some bases. And when he steals bases, it gets the defense all frazzled and gets them all like worried about how
mm.
Ellie can steal second home in 2 pitches. So uh, I hope the Reds win three. I hope three, which is sweep the series. But I'm expecting to win two. But if the Reds really want to prove me wrong, go ahead and win three. I wouldn't mind that.
Um, I think this is a great opportunity for the struggling Reds offense so far to get back on track. I mean, playing in a place like Colorado, there's no other ballpark like it. Elevation, obviously the highest in MLB. It's the most, in my opinion, the most hitter-friendly ballpark in the league. Um, I mean, we should see lots of offense. The Rockies pitching staff is atrocious. I can't think of one good guy on their pitching staff. Maybe Herman Marquez, but he's been doing
Yeah,
terrible this year.
they're not good.
But I mean, a weak pitching staff. The Reds are going against the team that gets beat up in the NL West every single year. I mean, this should be an easy matchup for the Reds. I don't see a world where the Reds don't get the sweep here, honestly.
Yeah, I truly do hope that the Reds can pull off a sweep here. This month in particular, the Reds are about to start playing a lot of NL Central teams. This is when the pace picks up about their in division matchups. So they face the Cubs in Great American Ballpark immediately after Colorado. So hopefully they can continue just to beat up on the Cubs as well while they're at it. Um, I think that the Reds need to realize, and I'm sure that they do, but just really how important these division games are, especially for like it's June right now, and I last year there was countless games when it's September, and I'm like, oh man, only if we won that series, and it was all the way back in May and April. Um, every
Yeah.
game in baseball is really important, especially the in division games. They're just crucial for your team, and the Reds just need to continue beating up on the NL Central. Hopefully, get a series win against the Cardinals. I believe that they play them later this month, like at the end of the month, last series. But yeah, a lot of NL Central matchups this month. Hopefully, they can beat up on the Rockies, get momentum to play the Cubs in Great American Ballpark again.
Yeah, and I found a stat a couple of minutes ago that the Reds last year were 26 and 31 after June 2nd, and this year they're 26 and 33. So they're a little bit worse than last year. But the Reds, June and July last year, tore it up. No better time to do it than now. They need to start quickly if they want to be able to get momentum towards the All Star break and to be able to climb over these teams. There's 5 teams ahead of them right now that aren't even in the wild card spot that are ahead of them in the standings. They need to beat up on these teams. A lot of the teams they play are in the National League and they're like ahead of them in the division. Cardinals, Cubs, Pirates, those three really need to beat up on them. And all three of those teams have a losing record as well. So NL Central, if they want to get a wild card bid, they're going to have to beat up on each other. And the Reds definitely can do that right now.
Yep. Hopefully, the Reds can beat up on these teams that they definitely should beat. But I'm going to go ahead and recap the week here and give my position player and pitcher of the week. Um, I got to give it to Jonathan India this week. This guy's been hitting the baseball and he's been walking a lot. He had 7 walks this week. He had 5 hits, 4 RBIs. He scored 4 runs himself. India played some great defense in Chicago. He had a couple of plays that were high IQ and just some good sliding plays. In those 5 hits, he had 2 extra base hits. Um, but you also got to give credit to Yeimer Candelario. He's been hitting the ball pretty well this week. The only reason I did not choose him was due to his strikeouts this month. Or sorry, excuse me, this week. He's been striking out this week quite a bit, and I wanted to give it to India this week. And then for my pitcher of the week, it was hard not to. It's hard to give it to a guy in the bullpen because Fernando Cruz has been really good this week. He had 7 Ks in 4 innings pitched, no earned runs, 1 walk, a hold, and a win. But after watching the game today, I'm going to give it to Nick Lodolo. Nick Lodolo, sure, he gave up 7 hits, but 2 earned runs. The strikeouts were pretty low. But 6 innings pitched, he really provided a big momentum boost for the Reds pitching, in my opinion. And he only walked 1 guy today. He was dotting guys up on the strike zone. He was getting guys to swing the bat, which I really liked. But he did hit Christopher Morel by a pitch, but that's all right. So that's all I've got for my players of the week. But I believe Jackson wanted to credit somebody. I think it was Jake
Yeah, I
Fraley or
want to
somebody.
definitely credit. Yeah, I would definitely want to credit Jake Fraley for how underappreciated he is, how good he was this week and
Yeah.
against the Dodgers in his 2 games at home against the Dodgers he played in. He has gone, let's see, 10 for his last 23. Only has 2 extra base hits, both doubles. The main reason why people don't really talk about Fraley as much as all these other big name guys is because he does not get as much power. He
Yep.
does not hit for as much power as those other guys do. Don't really know why, but he's had almost 300 batting average right now, 350 on base almost, and that's a pretty good stat. So if you can just get a little bit more power, he could definitely be up there every single day player. Against lefties this year, he's not actually done as bad as what people may think. Against righties, sure, he's still doing better. Because against lefties, he's hitting 281 against lefties, but he's hitting 308 against righties. He's had 26 at bats against those lefties, and that's not a big sample size. But last year he hit 0-64 against lefties, and this year it's almost 300. So that is a huge improvement for that. But going back to the player of the week, Jonathan India, he has a 6-game walk streak, 7 walks this week, only 5 strikeouts, a bunch of hits, 2 doubles, like Cash said, and then Candelario as well. He's gotten a hit in 5 of the last 6 games, got a home run in the first game of the Cardinals series back on Monday. He got his batting average up from 220 to 229 this week, which isn't a big improvement, but given what time of the year it is, going up 10 points in a week is pretty good. And India did the same. We have 9 points in his batting average as well. I really do think that these guys are getting hot right now at the right time, especially India. The last couple weeks he's been on fire since that home run, grand slam against the Dodgers. But if India, Candelario, and Steer can get on fire and get De La Cruz into the mix, it could be a really scary June for the Reds.
Yeah, and with Will Benson in right field, he struggles a lot to hit lefties. So Jake Fraley can really do some damage on Will Benson's spot in terms of playing, especially if he continues to hit lefties like this. And yeah, Jake Fraley was one of the guys who hit with power last year. Hasn't been hitting with as much. Been mainly contact focused. There's a couple of pitches I've seen that he's swung at. He's still gotten hits, but I'm like, last year I feel like he could have took that in the river. But
Yeah.
it maybe he's working on something new. Who knows? Whatever it is, it's working though. I'll take it. But
I'll take a 300 batting average all day.
yeah, I'll take that all day. But I'd like to see some pop in the Reds lineup show up, especially in this series. Here's a good time to do it against the Rockies. That's all I've got, unless you guys got anything else that you wanted to throw in there. Nope. All right,
Can't
sweet.
think anything.
Sounds good. All right, so this is going to conclude our first episode of the Rally Reds podcast. If you enjoyed this style of podcast, please consider subscribing down below. Feedback is much appreciated down in the comments. We do read every single comment. But while you're at it, drop a like. Who knows? Might help us out. And you might expect some player interviews potentially later in the year. I'm not gonna mention
We
who.
got one.
We
One
got
ready for
yeah,
you.
we got one ready for you. It's a pretty juicy one. But yeah, if you want to see more stuff like this, please consider subscribing and dropping a like, leaving us some feedback in the comments below. I'm your host, Cash Chandler, alongside my co-hosts Jackson Gunnell and Riley Sewell. This is the Rally Reds podcast, signing out.